So I have a couple questions to get started. The first is, how many of you have been with somebody who's looking down at a device and scrolling while you're talking?
Yeah.
I definitely have. Does it make you feel seen? Do you feel heard? Do you feel valued? So let's ask a question about connection first. Have you ever been somewhere where you feel invisible, surrounded by people, but you don't quite belong? Because we're going to talk about that too. And now I'm going to ask the exact opposite question. Who was the first person, just think about it in your head, that actually saw you for who you are, saw the potential that you truly have? So let me take you back to a time when I was 16. It was third period, history class, and I was standing outside of Coach D's classroom. The hallway was buzzing with kids, and I was paralyzed, holding a withdrawal form because I was forced to homeschool. This single piece of paper felt heavier than my entire backpack. I was looking down, fighting back tears, because I had to tell my favorite teacher, Coach D, that I was withdrawing from school. You see, Coach D was not just any teacher. He was somebody that made it okay when it wasn't okay. And back then, it really wasn't okay. School was rough. I was bullied constantly. Every day felt like a gauntlet. So I spent most days hunched over, looking down, never feeling enough, except for the 45 minutes that I got to spend in Coach D's class every day where I felt truly seen. So that's why when my friend came to me and told me what Coach D said to the entire class after I handed him that withdrawal form, I was shocked. He said, "Ugh, what a shame. That Erika, she could have really been someone." The floor dropped out from underneath me. All the connection that I had worked to establish vanished instantly. Not only did I feel underestimated, I felt like I had not been seen at all. After that, I homeschooled, I graduated, I got my associate's degree, and I moved on. I started working hard. Later on, while working a full-time job, I graduated with a bachelor's degree, 2.5 years with a 4.0. I was keeping my head down, working hard, and marching towards success. At 23, I landed an entry-level job at a healthcare organization. But instead of looking down, I looked up, and I saw a senior executive, James. And he was the first to arrive every morning and the last to leave. And James looked up too. And he saw an awkward young girl that was really trying. He also saw the fact that I was the first to arrive to watch him come in the office and the last to leave to watch him leave. Well, that may be because I got up at 3 a.m. to drive 2 hours to beat him to the office by 5. We connected over shared ambition. It was kindred spirits, and he took me to every important meeting and introduced me to every established executive who were all decades older than me. And I was nicknamed the 14-year-old all-star, what every 23 dreams of, being the office mascot. But hey, at least I wasn't carded every day. James taught me during this period of time that it's not about the degree we have or the position we hold, but about these relationships that can change the trajectories of our lives and of our careers. I went from that entry-level position to being a vice president at a Fortune 500 company, running close to 850 people with $260 million P&L. And now to this very stage. Those friendships, those connections, they are the most precious currency in the world, I believe. There's a couple of stats as we think about connection and what is occurring. Because we all know there's several things that made it harder to connect. The first being new technology. It's great, but we're focused on our devices all the time. The second is working remote. I love working remote, definitely an advocate, but still hard to connect. And the last is COVID. During COVID, the World Health Organization found that 25% of people had struggled with depression and anxiety. 25%. The US Surgeon General called a public health crisis in 2023 due to loneliness, isolation, and lack of connection. He said this was more harmful than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. 15 cigarettes. And that has ripples and effects in schools, in workplaces, in communities. Brandon McDaniel and Sarah Coyne made a reference, they made a term, a definition called technoference. Technoference is our attachment to our devices. So you all can imagine this is a phone. It's our attachment to our devices that interferes with our face-to-face relationships. So I think we've established connections going downhill. People feel more isolated. So what do we do to fix it? When most of us were growing up, we watched our parents, our teachers, our bosses model connection, how it was created. I would even go as far as to say it's the lifeblood of business, how people get promoted, how people get opportunities. But now, with us being glued to our devices and our children being glued to our devices and their devices, they can't see it anymore. So we have to practice intention in teaching the children and future generations. There are 3 micro moves that I've developed that can help us do this. The first is looking up. The second is listening big. And the last is lifting up. So let's talk about the first micro move, looking up. And when I talk about looking up, I'm talking about looking from the devices at the person in front of you to enjoy the full experience of being a part of mankind and enjoying that conversation. And yeah, if it makes you anxious, you're not alone, because sometimes it feels a little awkward. But the great thing is, you don't have to do it all the time. Sometimes you only have to do it once to get that face-to-face interaction and connection. But we've gotten to a point where even with important conversations, devices come and play. So just imagine a proposal. A man gets down on one knee. He whips out his phone and he reads his undying love for his future fiance. Now that's a proposal nobody will ever forget. This is further backed up by research from the University of Texas, McCombs Business School, where they showed people that had their phones in a separate room, or participants, had more cognitive capacity. What is cognitive capacity? Translation, brain power, than people that had their phones on them. Wow, like crazy. So in this, I'm going to give you a story, and it's about my daughter that shows how looking up changes everything. My daughter's name is Asia, and she had a dream school she really wanted to get into for undergrad, and she got there. Her main goal, her main focus was to get in pharmacy school the first time she applied. Only a third of participants actually get in. As she got to her senior year, she began to struggle with her grades. She was taking top-end science and math courses really hard. And I kept pushing. Get in front of your dean, your assistant dean, get in front of those professors. Make them know who you are. There's a lot of things that I do wrong as a parent, but I constantly push connection. And so she did. She looked up and she got that FaceTime. And she showed them how bad she wanted it. The work ethic. They got to know the girl behind the GPA. And as a result, they became her advocate. They looked up. They supported her. They helped her. She got in the first round, and she's now flourishing. So we've talked about looking up. Now let's talk about listening big. Or big listening, you'll hear me refer to as well. Most people call this small talk. I call it big listening. The little things are important. They matter. And again, is this awkward? 100%. It feels really strange and really difficult. But with that awkwardness, it leads to a door of trust. When you can have that awkwardness, people's guards drop. And as the guards drop, it gives you permission to drop your guard as well. This type of interaction is exactly what happened with my mentor, James. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was looking for the little things to get to know him. How he liked his coffee. What were his hobbies? Did he have kids? And guess what? I got to know James beyond life right there at work. I got to know him outside of work. There's a study that was done by the University of Warwick that states in 4 minutes, just 4, of genuine connection, you can get to know somebody and predict them from an actions and a words perspective. 4 minutes. Mind-blowing for me. So we've talked about looking up and listening big. I want to talk to you about the most powerful tool yet, and that is lifting up. Lifting up is an extension of listening big, because we all heard listening big isn't just small talk, it's everything. This is where you check in, you check your ego at the door. There's no judgments, no harsh critiques, just compassion. But here's the key. You have to get them talking about anything, everything that is exciting and gets them going. This can change lives, and it has changed lives. During the pandemic, I experienced this firsthand. I had a coworker. Actually, I was his boss. He was out on a normal basis visiting with people face to face. He was used to that energy, that adrenaline that pumps as you're with somebody and you get to feel that connection. But he was spiraling mentally. It was really difficult for him to be at home. And he just shut down. And I had a beautiful team, such a wonderful team that would call and check on him. As the boss, and knowing him, he always needed a little bit of time to kind of right size. So I gave him that time and that space until the calls became more urgent. I'm worried he's not going to be here tomorrow if you don't call soon. So I called him and I said, what is going on with you? There's something wrong. I'm getting calls from your peers daily, terrified that you're not okay and that you're not going to be with us tomorrow. So here's what I need you to know. I'm your boss, but I'm your friend first. I care about you and you're the priority. So if we need to go ahead and find a new job for you, great. Let's do it. The great news is with everybody lifting up, we were able to spark that passion, get him back to his normal, and make him the shooting star. So I'll leave you with this. What if, instead of looking down, you looked up? What if, instead of listening to reply, we listened to understand? What if we lifted somebody up today that was least expecting it? Because these small micro moves ignite massive transformation. But don't be the person that waits for connection. Make it happen. I invite you to start today. Thank you very much.